Welcome, everybody. I'm Theodore Whitlow. Today I'm here with Bob Reed, the Executive Director of Term Limits for U.S. Congress, and Dale Graywolf, the National Director of Term Limits for U.S. Congress. Term Limits for U.S. Congress is a grassroots political action committee. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's dive right into the conversation. You know, Bob, reading some of your literature and some of the things I've read that you've wrote, you have an opinion that the term limit should be a max of 12 years in Congress. Can you explain that to me, please?
Yep, I'd be glad to. Everybody has their own opinion. And something that we always have to keep in mind is the founders were brilliant. There were reasons that they put the individual terms the way they did. For instance, the House term, 2 years. Senate is 6 years. Well, the reason they originally did that is they said 2 years for the House because the House was a representative of the people, and they said the opinions of the people fluctuate much faster than the Senate. Now, needless to say, when the Senate went from being a designated position to actually being a publicly elected position, sort of messed things up a little bit, but the general idea is still there, which is a lot of people don't realize it. The Senate is broken into 3 classes. And every 2 years, one of the 3 classes is up for election. Now, every state has 2 senators, and the 2 senators from each state are never in the same class. And the reason they did that is they said, okay, no matter, there's usually, they consider usually like about a 2-year learning curve to learn how to do things in Congress. So they said, okay, this way, even if everybody that was up for election got taken out by somebody new, you would always, every state would always have somebody in the Senate that had at least 2 years experience. So you didn't have to worry about people who didn't know how to do the job, you know, in case of a natural disaster, war, whatever the case might be. So keeping the Senate the way it is, at 6 years with 3 classes, is paramount. We've got to do that if we want to keep our country safe. Now, the 2-year terms in the House. There's other organizations out there that have different ideas. For instance, U.S. term limits. Their common belief is 3 2-year terms in the House and 2 6-year terms in the Senate. The problem when you do something like that, though, is that you would say, for instance, 3 2-year terms, you've got 33% of the House constantly brand new, not knowing how to do their job. You've got another 33% that are about to get term limited out, so they're not really paying attention to what's going on. So you've only got 33% of the House of Representatives that's still going to be there for a while. And what you end up happening is a majority of people not really involved, and that's when the bureaucrats take over. Now, the whole idea is, for what we're doing, is we're saying, okay, the 6 years is necessary. So we want to do a variable of 6. 12 seemed to make the most sense because if you went to 3 full terms in the Senate, you get to 18 years. That's what a lot of corporations consider a full career. At 20 years, you are fully vested, you get all your money, everything. And in fact, when I was working in aerospace, we would usually do 20 years and then go to another aerospace company doing 20 there too. That way we had full retirement and everything from both companies. So we really didn't want to get to 20 years because then you're going to have politicians still thinking that Congress is a great place for a career. We don't want them to think that it's a career. We want them to go there and serve the people. So 12 seemed to be the best choice for the Senate. Well, what we didn't want to do is we didn't want to have less experience in the House than you did in the Senate, because then you end up with, you know, more power in the Senate than the House. It needs to be a balance. So we came up with the idea, let's do a blanket number of years. Let's say 12 years max. You can do 12 years in the House, or you can do 12 years in the Senate, or you can do a combination, but nobody needs to be in Congress for over 12 years. That seemed to make the most sense to us. It still keeps the variables in place as far as the shorter terms for the House because of the public fluctuation. It still keeps the 6 years for the Senate. It gives 2 years of learning curve and 10 years of experienced people doing their job, but nobody staying there forever.
Thank you very much.